Well, not a lot I can say about the chances. I mean, it's all open, of course, and well, it's rather interesting what's going to happen. And King's India, no, it's English. But I just saw moves of Nakamura. It is sort of King's India. Knight c6, rook b1, and then d5. No, e5 is the move. I guess there is d5 after rook b1, a tricky move, which is well. And was it the opening? Yeah, from the first Blitz game where Nakamura actually lost. Knight goes to e7, a4. Now bishop h3, changing the bishop. So that's look. And Nakamura managed to calm his nerves, and now, well, that's where he's at his best. Although Jan Nepomniachtchi, of course, is a very strong Blitz player himself. So, as I said, nothing is clear. And so far, we still can look at the position, but at some point, it might be actually the case that position won't be that important. Probably not with that guys, because they are capable of making a lot of moves. Actually, I don't know if we speak about ratio like moves per second. It's not clear, but I believe they're capable of making a lot of moves. So there will not be a deadly time trouble. To remind you, the system of this so-called Armageddon game changed quite a bit, and now you do have an increment after move 60. Once you get to move 60, you cannot lose on time anymore. And so once again, Nepomniachtchi is white, and according to the system, it's the only one game to be played. So if he's not winning, he is out, and otherwise, Nakamura is out. Quite an unusual transformation of his structure. Well, what Nakamura does is actually rather strange. I mean, you change the light square bishop, and then you give all the possible light squares away, hoping for, I don't know what for actually, to get some sort of an attack. Yes, that's what he does. Knight. Well, obviously a lot of spectators. So it goes like this. I mean, if you are to look at Blitz, so this is the Blitz game you want to look at. Well, still, I would declare this one to be much better for Jan Nepomniachtchi now, position-wise, but it's still, of course, hard to predict anything. And both of them look like calm. It's a last battle for today. So the best you can do is just to forget what has happened previously and just play. So f5, breaking through, but at the same time giving some squares. So now, what Nepomniachtchi can do, he takes c5, then dc5, actually creating a lot of possible weaknesses. And a5 and b6 pawn. Well, we don't see this b6 pawn, but just believe me, it gets weak. Although maybe not under this time control, because after queen f6, queens are on, and well, it's about trying to get to Nepomniachtchi's king. That's what Nakamura does. Perhaps Jan had to swap queens. I would say would be more practical decision, because after queen f6, it's always chances for black, and obviously, I mean, if it's not mate, then Pepetto will be already enough. Knight e1 played by Jan Nepomniachtchi. So f4. And then it feels like white can start taking. Well, look, Nepomniachtchi he's surprised with what's going on, and well, I guess he made another prophylactical move, although it seemed like it was already possible to actually take on b6. So rook d2 was played, and now if you go f3, king g1, and try to get to white's king, it won't be easy for you. But still, f3, I feel like f3 has to be played. Hikaru Nakamura is thinking, and he goes knight c6, getting the knight to d4, knight d5, queen d6. Was possible to actually go to e6, I thought. Well, then in this case it would be knight c7, so queen d6. Feels like Nepomniachtchi is in control, and eventually he takes ab6. ab6, so queen b6 or knight b6 will mean an extra pawn for Nepomniachtchi. although obviously some compensation is still on. Rather tense game, although they are not that visibly nervous as they were during rapid. That's interesting. So queen b2, retreating the queen. But now with black, you can't really get your queen back that easily. The queen was nicely placed on f6. That would be the moment when Nakamura could play f3 followed by queen e6, queen h3, but he didn't so. Rook b8. Black played rook b8, defending on b6. So b6 is permanently weak, but still it's not falling. F3 and then h5. So once again, Hikaru is trying to open up the position. Knight c2 and then g4. Yes, rook f1. White is bringing the pieces back. Queen g6, concentrating forces on a king side, possibly intending h4 and so on. And white queen gets stuck on b2. This is where Nakamura is, well, I believe he's an expert in this kind of stuff. Semi-bluffing attacks and so on. So rook f7. 124 for Nakamura, but still, if it comes to, say, simplified but drawish position, he will not be flagged, I believe. He is capable of playing a lot of moves, obviously, with that time. So he's going to easily reach move 60, although his position is not that, well, I mean, it's not that bad, so it's not only about getting to move 60, but so we are back to see the position. F takes g4, h takes g4. An interesting transformation, and then white gets to, well, gf4, and, well, white simply blundered this one, or so queen g3, king h1. And does it mean that it's safe for Nepomniachtchi? Not quite. Rook g4 and rook h4 is a threat. So you have to defend there. Jan played something, rook h2 and then rook h4, and perpetual is not acceptable for for white. Just to remind you, and Nakamura seems relieved. I feel like he spotted at least a perpetual. So Jan makes a move, queen e2, Still, it's well. But how about taking on h2 and taking d3? And that's what Nakamura does, right? Queen d3. Now everything's hanging. e4 is hanging. Knight on c2 needs attention. Well, I don't see the way to use a pin opening h file. Yeah, it seems like it went wrong. It went wrong for Nepomniachtchi. Well, he's still gonna fight. Obviously. What did he play? He played something. Rook e1, yes, it takes. Queen h5 now, quickly. And knight is getting to e5. Yes, knight e5. And since knight joins the action now, it's going to be really tough for Jan. Yeah, there is no way he can bring pieces in. Queen f3. Well, now it's about making. Actually, now it comes to making move 16 seconds and 14 for Nepomniachtchi. It's even less time for Nepomniachtchi. His position is bad, and it's even less time for him. 7 seconds only, and still they are not reaching move 60. Well, now it's not about chess anymore. Well, and Hikaru Nakamura, well, he wins this game with black. Draw was enough, but he wins this game with black to go through. Well, what a tiebreak! What a tiebreak, and what a lot of excitement, a lot of missed opportunities. Well, it was, to remind you, it was exchange of victories in 10 plus 10. It was 2 draws, 25 plus 10. There was 10 plus 10. First game won by Hikaru Nakamura in style, and then in second game he had all the chances. I guess at some point his position was winning for a second time. He lost it just to lose first game with 5 plus 3. And then he managed to calm his nerves, to come back, and then to win an Armageddon game. So what a match that was. So, summarizing all the above, today's tiebreak. It was Veselin Topalov to win in 2 games, to win versus Lu Shanglei. And so did Wesley So against Le Quang Liam. Vladimir Kramnik lost to Dmitry Andreikin. Yevgeny Tomashevsky, and Timur Rajabov lost to Peter Svidler in 25+10.
Hikaru, congratulations. Maybe first the first classical game. Where do you think he went wrong? In my notes, I had this Rook C8 C5 might have been the critical mistake. What do you think?
I mean, I'm not so sure. I think it was more or less close to equal, maybe a very slight advantage for me. Around like move 20, and okay, I think if I go rook d1, probably it's a better version, maybe quite a bit better than the game instead of going e6 first. But even after e6, I thought it was a small advantage. And I mean, Mickey was also a little bit low on time, so he kind of went wrong. But I have a feeling with correct play, it's probably a draw. But there's always a little bit of initiative, a little bit of pressure, so it wasn't that easy. And fortunately for me, Mickey didn't quite find the best way to defend, and I was able to win the first classical game, which of course, I mean, it's very important in general, especially when you're white. Yeah, and then today, I don't know what was going on. I mean, I thought I was completely fine, and then Mickey found this great b4 idea. I mean, I completely overlooked it, and I thought it was a very nice idea to at least create some play. But maybe knight e2 was wrong for Mickey. I think if he doesn't go knight e2, maybe knight d3, or there's maybe some other ideas perhaps. It's still maybe a game, because after knight e2 it just simplifies, and there really is nothing left to play for white.
Okay. Of course, I have to go back to the other day, the Armageddon and the appeal by your opponent. You had some time maybe to reflect on it. What is your comment on everything that happened there?
Well, okay. I mean, for starters, well, let's be clear. To the people who want to say that it's some way of messing with Jan, that's not the case at all. Frankly speaking, people have to understand that I come from America, and according to American rules, as far as I know, it's still legal even to castle with both hands. So there's no ill intention certainly from that. I mean, the fact that Jan chose to take it beyond that and think that I was intentionally trying to mess with his head or do something crazy is just a little bit disappointing, honestly, because I thought he played a great match. We both did, actually. At the critical moment in the second 10-minute game, I think it was, when I had won the first one, he found this brilliant rook d2 idea, and I lost, and then then he took the advantage in the blitz, and I won a very I played a great second blitz game to force the Armageddon. So it's a bit disappointing that he took it that way. But that being said, of course, it was not intentional, and it was just a matter of the fact that I'm used to playing in the U.S. and to go further on that point, there's another example. It wasn't a castling, but there was a game I played against Boris Grachev in the World Blitz Championship, and I think it was 2011, where I pushed a pawn to the 8th rank and I lost the game against him. So it's the people who think it's some kind of intentional thing, or I'm trying to gain some advantage. That's not the case at all. It's simply that I'm used to playing with U.S. rules, and of course I should know that the rules are not the same for FIDE events, but that being said, I mean, after you've been playing for 5.5 hours and so many wild swings, many things can happen. So that's how it goes.
Okay, your next opponent will be?
I think it'll be Yakovenko or Elyanov, I think, but I'm not certain.
Who do you prefer?
It doesn't matter to me, really. I mean, they're both very strong opponents. Obviously, I'm much more familiar with Dmitry because I played him in the FIDE Grand Prix a couple of times. But I think, I played Pavel, I think, in like Lenars in maybe 2002, 2003. I mean, a different lifetime ago. So I'm also familiar with his games as well. But to me, it doesn't make a difference. All that matters right now is I get to relax and enjoy a rest day, because the last couple matches have been very stressful.